Hey friends, it's Diane McCrae. I'm going to show you how to make 6 pie crust all at once, but what you need to know before I do this is that I am not a baker. I am the one that cooks for taste. It's going to come out delicious. If it looks pretty, I call that just an accident, a happy accident. So making pie crust is something that I have rarely done, literally very few times in my life until I learned this technique. So I have to thank my PC's Pampered Chef sister, Linda and Margaret, for getting together and showing us how to do this. And really, the ticket that makes it so much easier is having a stand mixer. So I'm using the Pampered Chef Deluxe stand mixer. I want you guys to be able to see what's going on in here. A couple of good things about this, low profile, and it has digital settings. So you can literally set it and forget it. This has made me a much better baker than I ever was. Frostings and batters and just stuff where you put it in and then you set it and you can go do other things because aren't you always multitasking in the kitchen? So let's get this going. Let me raise this up. There's 3 different attachments that come with it. There is a whisk. We're not using that. There is a dough hook. We're not using that. We're going to use the beater. I call it the beater paddle. And the great thing about this is it's got the scraper on the side so that it will be scraping the bowl as we go and keeps everything combined. Love it. Okay, now, the key to making 6 at once is we're going to layer it. Hi, friends. I saw some hearts go by. Excuse me. We're going to layer it into the mixer so that it's not all blobbed together. It's in different sections. Now, so we're going to start off with 2 cups of flour. I did pre-measure my flour just to make life easier working with you guys today so you didn't have to watch me do that. Oh, hang on. I did forget something. I threw my Crisco butter, this is the one that's a combination, into the freezer for a few minutes. Here's the difference. If you're going to be using your pie crust right away, then you want your Crisco or butter to be cold. If you're not going to be using them right away, then that's okay because you're going to end up freezing it, right? Or throwing it in the fridge, so you're going to be fine with it that way. So let me cut this into sections. So the next thing we're going to use for the total of 6 crust, we're going to use 2 of these cubes. Now I know the directions that come with Crisco say 1.5. Oh, no, did I do my math right? No, it doesn't. Anyway, good. That's good. I was thinking I did the math wrong, but that was only if you doubled it, not 1.5. Okay, so we're good. Very, very similar to what Crisco says to do. So we're using 2 of these totally. What I'm going to do is cut them each into 6 pieces because that makes it easy to go into thirds, right? So then we're going to plop in 4 of these pieces. And listen, however you want to break it up is fine. If you want to break it up, smaller pieces, that's okay. Hey, and here's a tip. If you will be doing this by hand and you don't have a stand mixer, freeze your butter or Crisco, or butter Crisco, and then grate it with a coarse grate, something big, so that you're not trying to, with your hands, mix those big chunks into, oh, look at Julie here. Oh my gosh. Hey, girlfriend. So that you're going to mix these in. It's going to be easier on your hands. So if you're not using a stand mixer, freeze them, get them very cold, grate them, and then mix them into your batter. It'll be easier on your hands. Okay, so we've got 1/3 of the Crisco. Next is going to be a teaspoon of salt. I put 3 teaspoons in here already. So I'm just going to do about 1/3 of it. Okay? Because we're going to make 3 layers. And basically, each layer is 2 pie crust, and then we get it all done fast. How's that? Now, the next thing we're going to add, then we're going to do it again. Okay? So, overall, it's a total of 6 cups of flour. And, like I said, 2 cubes of your Crisco butter. Now, there is some talk out there about what's better, Crisco or butter or both. I like the combo. I think the combo is the best. Get a little bit of both worlds. And then a couple other ideas. Now I'm going to end up adding some ice water into this at the end. And some people people will add vodka or vinegar, and I had never done that. So I went to Google last night to figure out why and what I thought was going to be the best. So I'd love to hear from you. If you are using vodka or vinegar in your pie crust or some other additive, please let us know and tell me why you use it and what you find is different about your pie crust when you do that. Because this is baking. It is part science. And so this is what's so good to learn. And okay, here's what I found on Google. Okay, and I wrote this down because I knew I was going to forget. Because this is the science part of it, right? I'm the cook. I can make it taste good, but I don't know a lot of the science behind it. So instead of water, you can use vodka for a more tender crust. The ethanol in the vodka prevents the gluten in the flour from binding to the butter, giving the final crust a more flaky, tender texture. Or vinegar, because the acid in the vinegar does a similar thing by preventing excess gluten from forming, which result in a tougher crust because of the higher gluten content. So there you go. Either your vodka or and I meant to grab vodka, I forgot. So we're just going to roll with it. So I've got my second layer of flour, my second layer of lard, and then there's my salt. And then last, because I measured this ahead, look, I did measure this ahead. I swear I counted. You guys, did I only put one on the first? I think I did. Okay. So I am going to go ahead because I know I counted 6. I even made Dave be quiet. He started talking. I had to start counting again. So it should be 2 cups of flour, 1/3 of your lard, butter, whatever. Remember, mine is pretty much room temperature because I'm not going to use these pie crusts right away. Okay, so it's okay. They're going to go in the fridge. And then the rest of the salt. Okay, now we're not even going to throw in any water or anything like that. First, we're just going to start mixing. So here we go. Okay, push this down. Turn it on already? I did. Here's the hard part. Trying to do this so you can see it and not me. I am going with custom setting number 1. And I'm going to go for about a minute. So I should be able to see this. Now, I did not put the guard on purpose because I want you guys to see the texture. Normally, I would put the guard on. So some flour may fly out. Here, I'm going to come over here. So there is a timer on this, so I can watch it get up to 1 minute. And you can see it starting to come together. Okay, so while that's doing it, what are the other tips? We're also going to use, because we're going to freeze it, you can use wax paper or parchment paper. That's what I forgot to get out. The parchment paper for rolling it out. Let's see. We have a minute yet? Oh, half a minute. Okay, so let me give you this other tip. If you like to add flavor, I think I have to come over here so you can hear me. If you like to add flavor into your crust, you can actually add a little bit of vanilla into the water before you pour it in. You'll see me pour some water in a minute. And with that, you're going to get just a nice flavor in, and it scents also. So you may enjoy that depending on the pie that you're making. I think that would be great in an apple pie. Okay, now we're at a minute. Okay, so I'm going to stop. And the only reason I'm really stopping is I want you to see how it looks after a minute. It is starting to come together. It's starting to clump. It is definitely starting to look more like a cornmeal because you want that fat to be combining in with the flour. So now I'm going to bring it up to 2. So it's a little faster. Hey, I did it without any flour spilling. That's amazing. So now it's on a setting number 2, custom. I'm going to go about another minute. Can you see how it's changing the consistency in there? And then 2 minutes. Here's how it looks after 2 minutes. It's like a soft Play-Doh. Okay? See that texture? It's definitely combined, but it still needs a little more moisture in it. So let me put this back down. And stay tuned, because I'm going to show you about different rollers, rolling pins as well. I'm going to roll one out. Not all of them, but I'm going to roll one out. So we need ice water. Like I said, I should have tried the vodka this time. But what you're going to do is you're going to add in, the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons per 2 crust. So it should be a total of 18 tablespoons. But it tends to be a little bit much water when you've got it. So plus, if you're going to put them in the freezer, you know you're going to get some moisture added from freezing it. So don't add too much water. There's still a way to fix that. But I have my, let's see, so 3 tablespoons, so I really want 6. So there's 4 and 2 more. And if I screwed you up with too many numbers, I will write the recipe down in the comments. Okay, let it keep going. And you know what? It smells so good. I wish I had smell-o-vision because it smells really good and fresh. And what you're going to love is that batter scraper that is taking it all off the walls. Let's see. I'm going to pause it again. Gosh. I'm just going to add a little more water because I know we're so much down from what the recipe calls for. But also keep in mind it's a softer dough because my butter Crisco wasn't hard. So I'm just going to put 4 more tablespoons in. Now this isn't the final product because when you roll it out, you can add more water or more flour. So here's what I'm going to tell you is when it is time to roll it out, if it feels too dry, just get your hands and sprinkle a little water on. So that way you're not measuring, you're just mixing it into the dough. And if you think it's too wet, go ahead and drizzle a little flour. Another tip I saw, tell me if anybody has tried this. Instead of using flour when you roll it out, you can use powdered sugar because it's going to add a sweetness to the dough and it's still going to do the basic of what you want, which is keeping the dough off of your rolling pin, right? Keeping it from sticking. So that sounds great. One other, let me go ahead and take this out. Okay. So remember, I got a few more tips for you guys here, but remember that this is going to make 6 pie crusts. Look at my favorite part, is it's not sticking to the sides of the bowl. So I don't have to get in there another scraper to do that. Okay, let me get this all out. Consistency is very Play-Doh-esque. Okay, this is good. And one thing is you never want to overbeat your doughs. That's going to make it tough. That's when you're just going to tear all the glutens apart, or I'm sorry, I think it's the other way. You're combining the glutens more. I said it wrong. I told you I wasn't a scientist. And so that is going to make your pie crust tougher and not flakier. You want those little flaky, buttery pieces in there, or greasy, buttery pieces. Okay, let me move this out of the way. I'm going to move my pastry mat out here. Get rid of my water. Next time, for sure, it's going to have some vodka in it. I'm just saying. Now, and you don't need to worry about the vodka being an alcohol taste in there at all because what happens is, let me give you guys a little more room to see. What happens is the alcohol evaporates out, cooks out. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I've got it all right here. I can be a little, I want them to be even. Right? Let me move this over so you can see this. So I did throw it all out here. My friend Linda, when she did it, she just took about 1/3 out each time and then turned that into 2 pie crusts. So I got it all out here. If you really want it to be particular on it, grab your kitchen scale and put it into thirds so that you know you've got even thirds. And I've got my bench cutter here. Let's see how good I am. I'm just going to wing this. Let's see. Let's see how close I came to thirds. That one weighs 13.7. I know that's too light. This one's going to be big. Yep. 1 pound, 1 ounce, 0.8. So let's do this right now. Let's throw some on here. What did I bring that down to? 15 ounces, 0.3. And one, ooh, that one's way too big. Okay, so, because I want them to be kind of close. Now, of course, whatever pie you're going to make, I've got a great recipe for a pineapple pie, if anybody wants that. I would love to hear any of your apple pie tricks or peach pie tricks. I love both of those. And, okay, these two are even. This one's a little big. That's okay. Now, so here we have 6 crusts in 3 bunches. So what you could do is cut each of these into 2. Now, if you're doing a pie that is a top and a bottom crust, make the bottom crust a little bit bigger, right? Because that's got to go a little farther up the sides. So there you go. Now, to freeze these, you're just going to make a disc and put it in your baggie. And then either refrigerate if you're going to use them later tonight, or freeze them if you're not going to use them until next month or so. I was told these can last up to 6 months. You figure there's really nothing in here that's going to go bad. So you're definitely good with 6 months. I would try and get as much of the air out of the bag as I can so that it doesn't dry it out. And then there you go. Off to the freezer or the fridge, again, depending on when you use it. So I do want to roll one out so that you can see it. And Linda had a great trick when she did this. Now, I'm using the Pampered Chef pastry mat, which is so easy to use, and you've got your different sizes here. Sometimes it's important to go by size, sometimes it's not. Go with your recipe. But what you can do is throw some parchment paper down. Or wax paper, whichever you have. And I want to show you the different types of rollers that you could use on this and why each one is good for a certain thing. I do want to start off by making it round. I know from my own help, that's going to be much better. Ooh, one other thought about adding flavor to your pie crust. You can add nuts. Take pecans. I think walnuts would be great for an apple pie. Chop them down with your food chopper. Just get them down to a fine grind and add about 1/4 cup in. You could do it at this point of your dough and then maybe put a little more water in there or vodka. But that gives it a nice nutty flavor too. And of course, when the nuts bake, you know how great that toasted nutty flavor is. Let me see. Do I have any more tips? I wrote these down last night because I knew I would forget. Okay, let me show you the difference. Different rolling pins here. First off is your good old heavy marble. You know, the one you want to keep in your car next to you so you can hit somebody over the head if you need to. Now, this is nice because it's usually staying cold, so it's going to be great on your cold dough, and it won't be breaking down those butters or lard that's in there because you want that to stay together for flakiness. So you can use this on your frozen pie crust, you know, something that is a little more hard. Since mine isn't that cold, I really don't need something quite this heavy, but it works. Now, just to show you a different one, this one's called the taper roller. This one is lighter in weight, and I kind of like this one a little better myself because when I'm rolling it out, I do it like a clock. First I'll go, you know, 6 to 12. Then I'll go 3 to 9, and then I'll go the opposite ways so that I am building the crust out round if I'm truly doing a pie. That helps me get that out in all the directions more evenly, okay? And I'm certainly going to even it out with my hands, but I can see where it is in the circle and which way I need to push out. It's also helping push the most from the middle because that's where it's the thickest, which is going to help that dough come out to the edges rather than staying fat in the middle. I'm going to jump ahead to the last step, the last roller. This one we call the baker's roller. This has been around the longest. This one is very lightweight and it is dishwasher safe. You've got one end here, just a straight roll out to whichever section you need. And then you've got the other end, and this I use when I put it in your pie plate and you're trying to get it to go up the side a little better. That's what this little side is for because it fits right? It fits right in the size of the pie plate. So this one's going to be great for that. And it also comes with a docking tool. Oops, that sits inside of it. Now the docking tool is just a little prickly thing, so you don't have to grab a fork. And if you were going to do a pie where you're going to bake the crust first, what kind of pies are those? Chocolate pies, like a chocolate pudding pie. You could do that, and then it snaps back into shape. And the reason you want to dock the crust or prick it is so that it doesn't get any bubbles going on. So let's see. I still have a little ways to go with this one, but I do want to show you one of the nice things about using the parchment paper. And I should have grabbed another pie. Can you see it? Oh yeah, you can see it. So at this point, I'm going to crimp it together to my edges that aren't so rounded. And listen, I ran one of these the other day. I just made a pie last night. You guys want to see my pumpkin pie? Hang on. Yes, we had pumpkin pie for breakfast. I'm going to admit it. So here's where it came out. It was perfect. Now, I would have liked my crust to be a little thinner. So what that means is next time, make it a little thicker. Maybe make 5 crusts instead of 6. But that's the great thing is you start with the basic recipe and then make it your own. Okay, let me grab my tips. What did I forget? Don't overwork the dough. I told you that. Told you about, okay, we got our, oh, if you have a recipe that asks for salt, which we did, just a pinch will do it to enhance flavor. This was interesting. If your recipe for your pie crust includes sugar, that will be a more tender crust as sugar interferes with the gluten development. So there you go. Acid from the vinegar, sugar, the sugar itself, or vodka, which is the sugar thing that's going to stop your glutens from coming together. So here we go. Now, what I would do, let me move these over. I should have some up front. Once I have it out to what I need, what I would do to get it into my pie pan easy is take this off, put the pie plate over it, and flip it. That way I don't have to worry about folding it to get it in. So just another little tip. Anyway, I really hope I've inspired you to try some pie crust on your own. Please hit me up if I can help you with any other questions, and happy holidays. Bye, guys.